The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwoola, public opinions, no matter how serious or weighty, cannot override the provisions of the Constitution. At the swearing-in of the new judges of the Federal High Court, Justice Ariwoola said justices and judges in the country applied constitutional provisions to adjudicate on cases assigned to them. Judy, this is well interpreted, that law does not have to do with Ariwoola.
Yes.
Doesn't have to do with what you are saying.
Not align with the law. Then you are not going to win.
It's not by sentiment.
It's not by noise making or intimidation of judges. We are in a terrible place in our country now, whereby people attack judges using the social media. It's the same attitude that Nigerians have taken abroad. Even the
Chicago State University
said Nigerians were abusing them. They were calling them names.
Bullying.
They gave the church, they gave the school a bad image.
Going as far as Illinois.
To Illinois. To attack our people, attack people who naturally they shouldn't even be brought into our matter. You know? They were just thinking, okay, the way they can bully people in Nigeria, intimidate people, that they can get the school to say, okay, this person, since they are abusing us, we just leave you alone. But it's their alumnus. They can't just throw him away like that. How many schools have the privilege of producing a president? Talk less of even producing the president of the biggest black nation in the world. You would now expect that because you are intimidating them, they will come out and just throw the person under the bus. They have to follow their procedures. And they recall that they've always demanded for this thing, and we've always told them that whatever we give you is authentic. So let's even leave Atiku. Atiku said that he helped stop the attempt to take Lagos by the PDP. People have asked me, is it true? It's yes. When he was coming with Asiwaju, some of the moves that were being made by Obasanjo to take Lagos by force, Atiku helped to frustrate it by sometimes providing raw intelligence, actionable intelligence. It's true. I was listening to Bode George on Redeem FM. I was editor of PM News, going to work, listening to radio as I usually did, abusing Atiku. That Atiku was doing anti-party activities, that he even used his position in the party to make sure that PDP was not funded to be in position to challenge AD in Lagos. That is true. But he said that to deflect the argument that he had been unfair to a man who provided him shelter when it was raining. No doubt about it, when Obasanjo came for him, somebody set up a political party for him and gave him the platform. Orolode Toridowe, he sees this as his last chance. Last chance. Because I don't think, with some of the people still left in PDP, that Atiku can be presidential candidate again. They are going to stop him in his tracks because he will be too old in 4 years. That is if God even permits. God is the ruler of the universe. He's the one who determines when we all go. So when people plan for 4 years, 8 years to come, they should also plan about God. So I agree that, yes, he tried, he helped them that time. You know, but it still doesn't take away the fact that he has become Aleni Madeni. That's his alias now, Aleni Madeni. That's what how somebody described it.
Meaning what?
Meaning that the pursuer that doesn't look back. He wants to grab because that's his last chance. So going back to what Ariwoola said, some people believe that by intimidating the noisy minority in our country, because our friends in the north, you hardly hear them complain. They are not on social media like the rest of us. Somebody even told me, said, when you look at the people fighting Asiwaju, how many of them can you see on social media that are from northern Nigeria, yet they are in the majority? You know? So, by that token, you can say it's actually a noisy minority that is behind the intimidation of judges and believing that, oh, what the minority says constitutes the majority opinion. That is not true. But whatever it is, whether it constitutes minority or majority opinion, law, the position of the law should determine how cases are decided. And Supreme Court, having made mistakes in the past, has to be conscious of his of how the public perceives it. And just as the CJN has said, the Supreme Court itself must at all times use the law to determine cases. They must not use politics. They must not use Ariwoola. They must not listen to the voluble but voluble minority. That's what I would say.
CJN, as a law student, this should make a lot of sense to you.
Graduate.
Are
you still a
Oh,
student?
sorry. A budding, a budding lawyer.
You know, what we have come to find out now in Nigeria is that where the court favors you, people praise the court. Where it doesn't favor you, oh, the courts are
Democracy
biased.
is-
Yes, that has been. It's not just only on politics, in even other aspects. There have been instances where people have gotten certain judgments and they praise the judiciary, but in as much as we have this kind of misgivings, but the truth has to be told that some of our judges have not lived up to expectation. And that's a fact. We've seen it several times. We've seen instances where judges give frivolous judgments that even you, a layman, will look at and say, haba. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say.
People didn't participate in primary.
Yes,
Go
you'll
to
be
the
shocked.
Senate.
And they go to the same people that didn't participate in the primary. They go. The electoral has said, oh, so you cannot pick, you cannot collect form for this and still go there. You see a situation where somebody will pick up 2 forms, go for presidential, go for Senate. If he loses at the president, he decides to go. And even the court will say, oh, even up to the Supreme Court, they say, oh, it's right. And so those are the. Then a lot of people are losing hope in the judiciary, and that is where the judiciary needs to reinvent itself. Very, very fact. So if that is the case, because we've always said that the court is the this thing of the common man, is final hope of the common man. Then you ask yourself, how affordable is the court also? Because that's something. What we have a lot of crime going on is that some people cannot even afford to go to the court. Then even the court, if you go to the court, you see the timeline. How long it takes for people to just. That is why some people take this. But I like what the Chief Justice CJN said. He said, judges must be impartial, that they must be fair, and also apply justice. And that comes to what you ask yourself: who watches the judges? Who is there to be able to look at them? Because they are not following; they are human beings. That is why the NJC was established. And you ask yourself, has the NJC been doing his job as an arbiter? Because once a judge has given a case, he has delivered a judgment. If it's in high court, you go to Court of Appeal. If it's after the Court of Appeal, you go to Supreme Court. After the Supreme Court, the only other person you can appeal to is just God Almighty. So while the CJN is, yes, saying this, but let us also let the judiciary also look in-house and ask themselves, especially the bad eggs amongst them. They know them. They know them very well. I'm telling you, they know them. And not only he's talking about the judges, also the lawyers, the MBA. Because it has been established that even some lawyers do certain things that you can't even believe. As the MBA use the office, its instruments to be able to checkmate some of these people. And that is where we say, because if you see some of there have been instances where a lawyer goes to court and judge just say, which kind of a lawyer are you? What are you? You know that this is not right. I've given judgment. You return to that same court to obtain itself instead of going to the higher court. So it's a very nice situation. But the CJN has given the rules. He has spoken to the new judges, and I hope that they should see themselves, because most often than not, what we don't forget that after here, there is a hereafter. There is one man that we all are accountable to. You may be a judge today, but there is a higher judge in heaven who sees you. If you're not able to dispense, use the power given you to be able to dispense justice equitably, then you are answerable to somebody.
That's what Justice Antonio Anyagolu said.
Yeah.
Antonio Anyagolu never collected bribe throughout his years as a judge, and he was a Supreme Court judge. He said it's a privilege to be the final judge. But when we die, there is another judge.
Yes.
And we will
We are
have to
answerable
face
to
him.
him.
We
Yeah.
have to face
Face
him
him.
one day. So if, for example, you are a judge and you fail to dispense justice the right way, God will ask you, except people don't believe in God. Many people in this generation don't believe in God. They live for today.
Yeah.
They believe that whatever they get today, that's what matters. But one day, because you can't imagine that the world just came on its own, that there's no ruler of the universe.
The Big
Nobody
Bang- the
created
Big
the
Bang
world. The world
theory.
just came.
The Big Bang
I
theory.
mean, how do you think like that? So the word, in our word, rains come when they should come. Nightfall comes when they should come. It is because there's a ruler of the universe who ensures that things go according to plan. And that ruler of the universe is there watching. When it is time, we will all account for our misdeeds. And judges especially. God will be harsh on them because you can imagine sentencing someone to death, and it's an irreversible judgment. And the judgment is wrong. You can imagine coming down with a judgment that renders someone prostrate the rest of his life. How do you face God over that? That's not what God expects you to do. So they should have the fear of God in their heart. That is one thing that judges must have, the fear of God. Not even the fear of NJC, because most often than not, they don't punish fellow judges. So the fear of God should drive them at all times to deliver justice the right way, in a manner that pleases man and God.